Hello and welcome to 3.0 TV. This is Manoj Dara. So Ethereum caught the market's attention once again after Go Early, one of the largest and most active test networks, switched to proof of stake consensus from proof of work. So this exercise showed that the proof of stake validation process substantially reduces the energy which is necessary for verifying a block of transactions, and also provided that the merger process actually works. So as we approach the merge, there are several thoughts and questions that need immediate attention and clarification. So to explain the misconceptions about the Ethereum, we have invited a special guest. Let me introduce you to Mr. Samrat Kishore, Regional Head of Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. He is joining us from Malaysia. Samrat sir, welcome on 3.0 TV.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Manoj, for having me again.
So we are discussing once again, बट दिस टाइम वी आर ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड जहाँ पर एक बहुत बड़ा एक क्वेश्चन मार्क है. बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस हैं इन्वेस्टर्स के, व्यूअर्स के, एंड ऑल दोस इंडिविजुअल्स हु आर लुकिंग टू इन्वेस्ट इन इथेरियम. ऑल्दो दिस शो इज़ नॉट about any advice from 3.0 TV for any or for that matter any guest. But we are trying to, yeah, but we are trying to clear this misconception about Ethereum. So let us begin with the first question which we have gathered. So is it true, Samrat, that running a node requires staking of 32 Ethereum? And is this statement correct that everyone is free to sync their own self-verified copy of Ethereum, that is run a node, and Ethereum is not required, and not before the merge, not after the merge? If you can just clarify this.
Sure. First of all, Manoj, आप ये बहुत अच्छे time पे you organized this show. Because just yesterday this Gory testnet went live and it was successful. So we all know that the merge is finally coming, and we have all been anticipating it. The whole world was looking forward to this mega event, I would call it. So this is a good time to be addressing these questions. Coming to your question, Manoj, जो आपने बोला कि if we need to have 32 at stake. So I think the important factor here is, what does an individual or a company want to do with the node? If they want to host a node and generate some returns out of the Ethereum network, then they need a node which can add blocks to the network.
Oh, fantastic.
Consider it like a block which will be like a validator, and which will take other people's transactions, validate it, and then post it on the Ethereum blockchain. So that node definitely needs there's an entry barrier to it. पहले वो एंट्री बैरियर होता था, वो होती थी प्रोसेसिंग पावर. प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क के केस में, जो कि वर्ल्ड ओवर लोगों ने सुना है, बहुत बातें हुई हैं इसके ऊपर कि पावर कंजम्पशन ब्लॉकचेन का बहुत हाई है, एंड दैट वाज ओनली बिकॉज ऑफ प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क, जिसमें वो जीपीयूज का इस्तेमाल होता था, जिसमें वो रेस होती थी एक तरह से टू हैव द मोस्ट प्रोसेसिंग पावर, एंड देन ओनली यू कुड वैलिडेट. बट नाउ दैट होल गेम इज चेंजिंग टू प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक. So the way it is designed is that now you first, as an entry barrier, you stake your 32 ETH first. That will just get you a ticket to get a node, okay, which will be a validator node.
All right.
So it's like an entry ticket to it. Second kind of node can be where I want to monitor, I want to run analytics, I want to do fraud analytics, I want to do reporting. It can be media houses, right? It can be it can be a Bloomberg, for example, just gathering, what's the total value which is circulating in the network. So they don't need to stake any ETH for monitoring it. They can have a full node. They can download the code. It's all open source. They can download the codes, sync up with the blockchain anytime they want. So that's the difference that I see that people should understand.
All right. So since we are talking about the merge, and we are trying to understand about what are the fine prints and what are the benefits of the merge, and there is one more thing which a lot of market participants are talking about, and we have read in 1 million articles at least, that the merge will reduce the gas fees. And
okay,
is the merge going to change of the merge is the change of consensus mechanism, not an expansion of network capacity. So is this statement true? And how do you see this gas scenario moving forward, Samrat? If you can just explain this for our viewers.
Sure. So there are two aspects to it. One is how the gas fee is decided. How does it what are the variables which impact the gas fee? One thing is, which is elasticity, that whole demand and supply. Because we are saying that this is a network, this proof of stake is a network which is increasing capacity, not by increasing block size, not by doing anything else, but generating blocks more often. So जो blocks से generate होने की frequency है, वो बढ़ रही है. तो उसकी वजह से it can process more transactions than it was doing it earlier. Okay, so that since that is increasing, so आपका क्या हुआ, demand supply के equation में आपकी supply थोड़ी सी increase हो गई technology wise. Okay, the other factor which is influencing the gas fee is the demand. So earlier the applications were being designed in a way कि वो directly Ethereum से interface करेंगे.
Now it is related to the capacity of the network.
So I'm coming to that. So let's say D apps, the earlier D apps that were being built were designed in a way to interface directly with the layer 1 Ethereum. Abhi kya hai ki the scenario is shifting towards layer 2s, and people are saying that, let's use Ethereum as the base layer, as the settlement layer, and use a layer 2 to build our app so that you can do faster, you can go faster.
Such as Polygon?
And that is such as Polygon, exactly. Polygon being my favorite, I'm open to say that because they are building so fast. Most of the big brands are using them who've gone on the NFTs, and the other there's also a third element to the whole gas fee scenario, which is what are the transactions, and people have become really careful about what transactions really need attestation. Fantastic. What transactions really go for the settlement chain. I think that is also more driven by education. People have now got more educated, don't put data on the blockchain. Earlier they were designing applications, all the data was going on the blockchain. That will always need more gas fee. So imagine if I were to ask, just for common understanding of people, imagine if I were to ask users, ki boss, each time you tweet, you pay me something. Each time you post an update on Facebook or picture on Instagram, you pay me something. If I were to do that, then people will stop using these networks, and then these networks will die, right? So, इसीलिए, this whole, all these three factors, I think in totality will contribute to bringing down the gas fee.
Fantastic.
And Vitalik, for the first time, he's issued some numbers, so I can definitely talk about it. He said 0.002 cents to 0.5 cents, to 5 cents. That's the range that he says. It will be only viable if these numbers are met.
Fantastic. So, I mean, this is actually a big statement, Samrat, which you have actually said. So
I'm just reiterating what Vitalik said.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So for our viewers also, this is not an advice on Ethereum, but this is just a research material that will help you to make your investment decision better. So we are talking about misconceptions about Ethereum and the road ahead. So since you mentioned about the gas fees, and I just wanted to understand about the merge is actually depreciates the use of proof of work and transactions to proof of stake for consensus, which is actually the use case. But does not significantly change any parameters that directly influence the network capacity or throughout. So, am I right?
So, Manoj, इसमें दो aspects हैं देखने के लिए. One is the network throughput, which is, as I said earlier also, in this new transition to technology, there is capacity which is getting increased by generating more blocks.
Right.
Okay, so if I were to say, more blocks, I could say more blocks per minute or more blocks per second. So it's very simple. If I'm increasing network capacity, how? By enabling more transactions to go through, in the same amount of time, by generating more blocks. So that's in that way it is increasing the throughput. And of course, the other way is going for layer 2 solutions. There is also a new concept of finality which is included. Okay, so this finality was never the case. I mean, there were tons of buffering apps, and that's what layer 2s were doing. But now Ethereum also supports by design finality, where I would say transaction will happen faster. Okay, so it can get verified first and it get finalized later on. So that's the big change, which I see in the way blocks will get created. So more blocks getting created more frequently, and the option for finality will make sure that there are more transactions which can get processed. And hence, the validators, the people who have actually staked their Ethereum and who want to make money out of it, they will get more chance to make money.
Fantastic. So rich will get richer. That's what you are saying. So
people who bought Ethereum way back, when I was buying Ethereum, it did not cost much, Manoj. You just had to be a believer on it.
Absolutely, we believe in this technology. That's the reason why we are having this interaction. So moving on.
Yeah.
So there is one more misconception. If you can just clear this for our viewers, is the transactions will noticeably become faster after the merge. So how are we seeing this? Can you just throw some light on this? How this transaction speed will mostly remain on the same layer, or will it not? What kind of technology can be, will be used to achieve this target?
Sure. So there are two parts to this answer, Manoj. One is, जो मैंने अभी बोला थोड़ी देर पहले कि there is more blocks getting generated more frequently.
More frequently, right?
My transactions will go through faster that ways. The other part is sharding. So there is sharding which is coming. It's beyond the merge. It will come in the next 6 to 12 months, which is which is a new way of storing data on the Ethereum blockchain that Vitalik had issued a position paper long back on sharding. So if people are really interested to read about it and understand the technology, they can go ahead and read it. But sharding is a real needle turner. If I were to call it, a major event after the merge, that would be one major event which will make sure that this Ethereum layer 1, which is now the global settlement layer, becomes viable for scaling up the Web3.
All right. So since we are talking about layer 1 solutions and the road ahead, there is one more thought which investors are thinking about is you can withdraw the stake ETH once the merge occurs. So which is the date which is given is September 19th, and you have just mentioned in your opening lines that after the yesterday's upgrade of the network, it is actually a reality. That means September 2nd or 3rd week, we are going to see the first glimpse of the merge Ethereum. And congratulations for that as well, Samrat. So how do you explain this?
Congratulations to all of us.
So how do you explain the situation for our viewers who are actually staking Ethereum, and what will be the situation once the merge occurs?
So thank you so much, Manoj. This is a very important question, and I think everybody should understand कि इसके mechanics क्या हैं. So ये 32th staking की बात चल रही है. So first of all, 32 is only the entry point. It is not the limit. So people can actually stake more Ethereum also on the network and actually be entitled for more returns from the network. It just makes sure it's a way of saying what portion of the transactions will come to you and hence determine your returns from the network.
Exactly.
So now coming to your question about whether people can withdraw it or not. So there is a there's a technical answer to it and there is a emotional answer to it. Emotional answer is if you believe in something, stay with it and see it through. So I would not expect people to withdraw after the merge. I would expect people to stay and see through how this new network performs and what returns it is able to generate for all of us. A technical answer to it is the staked Ethereum is locked until the next upgrade, which is Shanghai upgrade. There's a Shanghai upgrade planned again in the next 6 to 8 months. So it is locked until that time. But the returns which people generate will be withdrawable from day one. So let's say it's considered for layman language. Imagine it to be like your fixed deposit. So fixed deposit पे मैंने बोला कि boss, you don't touch your fixed deposit. You just leave your fixed deposit as it is. But you can withdraw any interest that you generate. You can withdraw every day.
सर ये फिक्स डिपॉजिट कहाँ का फिक्स डिपॉजिट की बात कर रहे हैं आप अमेरिका की बात कर रहे हैं या इंडिया की बात कर रहे हैं? तो उसके रिटर्न्स भी अलग अलग है दोनों के रिटर्न्स बिल्कुल अलग अलग है. अभी फिर इथेरियम स्टेकिंग के रिटर्न्स कैसे हैं? ये सिर्फ और सिर्फ एजुकेशनल पर्पस के लिए आप बताएं खाली.
हाँ नहीं तो इथेरियम के जो रिटर्न्स आएंगे वो वैलिडेशन ऑफ ब्लॉक्स के ऊपर आते हैं, राइट? फॉर एनी वैलिडेटर टू अर्न रिटर्न्स फ्रॉम द इथेरियम नेटवर्क,
वैलिडेटर्स आर नो वन बट माइनर्स.
एग्जैक्टली Minor, मतलब in the proof of stake parlance, you can call them validators.
Validators, right?
Miners.
Exactly.
So अब मैं अगर बोलूँ कि if I have to send some money or some value or make a transaction, Samrat to Manoj, there is always a transaction fee. Now part of that transaction fee goes to the person or the validator node which validated this transaction. Okay. बहुत ही सिंपल बता रहा हूँ मैं. I don't want to get into complexities because I know it is for education of the audience and they should understand how it happens.
Yeah.
So एक छोटा सा transaction amount निकल के वो validator के पास चला गया बीच में. Imagine this validator to be a independent third party, does not know Samrat, does not know Manoj, only sees the transaction happening and validates whether this is a legitimate transaction or not. Okay, and adds that to the block which is on the internet, which is on the Ethereum blockchain. Now this validator, because he is running that node, he is spending money. He or she is spending money on maintaining that node. There is electricity, there's internet,
infrastructure, mining infra, and everything.
Yes. So all that goes into it. So that is the reward that they get, and what they are bringing, into the network, they are bringing security. So the nodes of any blockchain network should bring in two things. Very, very important. They should bring in liveliness. Okay, the network should be live all the time. Should be consistent, right? And the second it should bring in is the security. I should not be in a position where I say there are only 20 nodes on the network. I hack 10 of them. I am able to control the network, right? So that is why these validators are required on a POS blockchain. So अभी क्या है कि जो ये returns इनको मिल रहे हैं, this return they can withdraw anytime.
All right, perfect. So since we are talking about misconception about Ethereum and you are bang on explaining for our viewers, बहुत अच्छी तरीके से आपने explain भी किया, लेकिन आपने एक शंघाई अपग्रेड के बारे में मेंशन किया which is going to occur in next 6 to 8 months. Very quickly before we move on to the last question, ये शंघाई अपग्रेड क्या है और उससे नेटवर्क को कितना फायदा होगा?
So Shanghai upgrade is planned to come in again, as I said, 6 to 8 months, but it's an upgrade which is coming to the network. So it's largely meant for the nodes. Okay, so performance efficiency, etc. You get to withdraw your staked Ethereum, etc. And then very importantly, there is a lot of financial engineering involved in this. So I also have to define incentives and disincentives for people to withdraw that staked Ether. So for example, जो APR returns लोग देखते हैं अपने staked cryptocurrency पे, वो उससे impact होंगे.
परफेक्ट. सो यही रीज़न था मैं, क्योंकि मेरा जो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन जो है वो शंघाई अपग्रेड के ऊपर है. एक और क्वेश्चन मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूँ इज आई मीन देयर आर लॉट ऑफ पीपल हु आर एक्चुअली बिलीविंग दैट वैलिडेटर्स विल नॉट रिसीव एनी लिक्विड ETH रिवॉर्ड्स टिल द शंघाई अपग्रेड व्हेन विड्रॉल्स आर एनेबल्ड. तो ये सबसे पहले तो ये विड्रॉल्स कभी इनेबल होंगे और उसके बाद में जैसे आपने एक्सप्लेन किया कि वो आप 6 to 8 months तक आप नहीं कर सकते. तो ये जो मिसकंसेप्शन है वो आप कैसे क्लियर करना चाहेंगे?
सो मनोज, इसमें बहुत ही सिंपल सा इसका आंसर है कि जो स्टेक्ड इथेरियम है वो आपने स्टेक किया है एज पर अ स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फॉर अ सर्टेन पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, लेकिन बाय वर्च्यू ऑफ बीइंग अ वैलिडेटर ऑन द नेटवर्क यू जनरेट सम रिटर्न्स ऑन एवरी ट्रांजैक्शन, राइट? व्हिचएवर ट्रांजैक्शन इज वैलिड बाय योर नोड. सो वो आप विड्रॉ कर सकते हैं, उस पर कोई रेस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है. वो आप डे 1 से एवरी डे यू कैन कीप विड्रॉइंग the returns that you're generating. But I including myself, and there are friends who I know who are doing this, people do not want to withdraw from ETH to. That is something which I'm just telling you. It's a popular opinion that your staked Ethereum is going to generate a lot of value in the long run.
How much times? I mean, how much value is more value for you? For Samrat, is 1x, 2x, 3x? I mean, is taking APR is expected to triple after the merge? Samrat, that's what you're saying?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There is no number I would want to put to the APR increase percentage today. But if somebody is saying it is going to triple, I don't see a logical reason behind that yet. If there is there are more developments and these things happen, then definitely Manoj, you and I will be talking across on this point, definitely.
All right. Thank you so much, Samrat, for being a part of this interaction. You spoke really well, and आपने बहुत अच्छी तरीके से ये सारे जो misconceptions है about Ethereum वो अच्छी तरीके से हमारे viewers को explain भी किया, and आपने बहुत अच्छा एक road map भी दिया कि यहाँ पर कौन-कौन से levels पर आप अगर validator है जो कि एक miner है जो कि upgrade के बाद में उन्हें validators कहा जाता है, वो उन्हें क्या-क्या कौन-कौन से steps को ध्यान में रखना चाहिए before making any investment bet in Ethereum. Although this show is about to educate them, and hence this endeavor. Thank you so much, Samrat, for being part of this interaction on 3.0 TV. Thank you so much. That's all there is in this special interaction on Crypto Masters. Keep watching 3.0 TV for more such interesting interviews. This is Manoj Dara signing off. Thank you.